Half-Life, and most specifically a modification for it called Action Half-Life. And Action Half-Life was all about stealth and sneaking around a corner and using a sniper rifle and popping someone in the back of the head. And I just loved it. And of course, it's the first game aside from maybe like, Doom and Quake, I played those when they came out. Doom, when it came out, because of the moving up and down, I couldn't play it. It made me sick. I call it Doom sick. Even to this day, when there's a game that comes out that makes me ill, I call it being Doom sick. Weird psychological motion sickness. Check the camera. Oh, we're good. We're only at 5 minutes. Anyway, Action Half-Life was a blast. I made a lot of really good friends on that game. And I played that game. I played the heck out of that game. I probably played that game, or it was actually a modification for Half-Life. A multiplayer modification. So you played online. And I probably played that game long after it was out of fashion to be playing it. I mean, there would only be like 2 or 3 servers and maybe one other person on it, and I would play. And I ran a server for a long time there when it was popular. And I still haven't found a game just like it. Ordinarily, I'm not a fan of first-person shooters. I did play Quake 3 for a while, but it just didn't hold my attention. Now, Half-Life I did play, and Half-Life I still proclaim as probably one of the best single-player games, and that came out in 1988. Probably one of the best single-player games ever. Only made better by Half-Life 2, which came out in 2004. Amazing games. But aside from those, I've never been a big fan of first-person shooters, and hardly ever play games on the computer anyway. The last game I played on the computer, aside from Farmville, which all you Facebookers know about, it's probably Need for Speed Underground. I like racers, and so Need for Speed Underground came out in 2003 or 2004, and it's one of those games by Electronic Arts. Everybody knows the Need for Speed series. Any computer person does. And I still may contend that it is one of the prettiest games and one of the most fun games, arcade-style racers to play. And so you'll still see me today. I have it installed on my computer. I have it hacked to use a widescreen resolution because at the time it came out, widescreen monitors weren't popular at all, and so there was no support. You'll see me put videos of it, of me playing it up online. I love it that much. The only other racing game I can think of that I've loved that much would be Need for Speed Porsche Unleashed, which came out a couple years before Underground. It's kind of more of a simulation type driving, but it's very, very, very high on the eye candy level. And there, embarrassingly enough, another console game, the game called Forza Motorsports by Microsoft on the original Xbox. And it's a driving simulation. It's not really a racing game, it's more of a racing simulation. So there's no really arcade feel. It is an absolute blast, and it's an absolute treat for the eyes. So, if you've never played that, you owe it to yourself to find a used Xbox or something and play it. So guys, I really need to wrap this up. This is going to be like a 5 or 6 parter. I cannot believe this. I hope that if at least one person watches it all the way through, doesn't skip around, I hope it gives you guys an insight into how I am and what got me into computers. To me, it's just a world that, it opens up endless possibilities. And I'm not talking about just the internet itself, but I'm talking about actually working on computers. There is so many choices, so many things you can do differently to customize your computers. And it's a skill set that you know, embarrassingly enough, I can't believe I don't have a real job doing this stuff. You know, I get jobs on the side now and then, but honestly, I make my living off of an SSI, a disability check, because I'm legally blind. I would love to get a job, you know, doing, if not, you know, my first choice of job would be the actual technical side of things, building and repairing PCs. That would make me most happy. But if I couldn't do that, then web development or heck, even tech support I could do. Although I'm not all that great with people sometimes. I can lose my temper. I'm a lot better at that than I used to be. In fact, somebody on YouTube once recently told me that, oh, how did they put it? They said I had a kind and gentle soul, and that I had a voice and personality made for teaching. I read that and I was like, whoa. It's one of the nicest things I think anybody's ever said about me. Now, while I'm here, I said something the other day about Nate 42nd, which is a YouTube user who has constantly given me support. He thinks he missed out on something because it kind of cut off at the end of the video. But honestly, Nate, I was done talking about you and was going to move on to another user. But I'll say it again, you know, you give me a lot of support, and I really appreciate all your comments. This is Nate 42nd I'm talking to. Just awesome. I so much appreciate your advice, any input you have. Always do my best to answer your questions, and you know, I can't tell you how much I appreciate your support. Now there's another YouTube user, and his name I can't pronounce, but it's like DJS and some kind of number, and I can't remember. I'm sorry, I'm horrible with names as it is. Even if you had a normal name, chances are I wouldn't remember it. It's amazing that I remembered Nate 42nd. But he's been there a lot for me too, and has always had a positive, kind word to say, and you know, everything positive, everything constructive. And people ask me, well, how do you deal with negative criticism or just negative comments in general? Well, the great thing about YouTube is I can just delete them. Now that's not saying I'm some kind of Nazi and I'm just going to, you know, I'm not going to let people express themselves. If you have genuine constructive criticism and you bring it across in a way that is constructive, I'm going to be the last one to delete or block you as a user. If you come off like an ass, and that's even if you're being constructive, if you come off like an ass, I don't have to deal with you. That's the great thing about this is the internet, this is America. I'll delete you, I'll block you, you keep it up. I hate to have to do that to anybody, but at the same time, you know, I'm trying to reduce all the negativity in my life, and that's what I'm bound and determined to do. So, let's wrap this up. I really appreciate all your support. Hopefully we'll get some more technical videos up. I'm already getting ready to do one tonight, I think. Somebody asked me to go ahead and do an absolute FreeNAS how-to. So, I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. If I have any battery left, you guys have hogged up all my batteries. Anyway, see you later. Thanks for listening. I know it was a long set of blogs. I really appreciate it. Thumbs up, you guys.